Lady Raerdrim, VA. My hero, I'm coming in. I asked the servants to prepare a nourishing soup for you. I'll just leave this here. How long are you going to pretend to sleep for? It may have been convincing the first few days I came to see you, but I saw that you ate some of the soup last time. I know that you don't know how to handle this information. I don't know what exactly you remember, if anything at all. Or maybe you're terrified of me now. I didn't lie because I want to hurt you, or do anything horrible. I thought that this may have been the gods giving me a second chance. Maybe they saw how I changed and rewarded me with the opportunity to apologize for you. But I see that you still hate me. You don't hate her. Everything is just so complicated, and you don't even remember much of your past life. It hurts way too much to think about. You were always the victim of circumstance. They put the weight of our world on you as soon as you showed any sign of power. I know I did horrible things, but I think our roles were decided for us in the very beginning. I don't expect you to believe what I say, or that you'd even trust me again. But at least finish the soup this time. I'm worried about you. Guilt weighs heavy on your heart, but facing the lady right now feels impossible. Every time you think about the hero, what your past life used to be, your head spins. You should probably get up and eat the soup, like she suggested. You feel your strength waning without proper sustenance. With that out of the way, maybe you should confront the lady on everything. Despite what you read, she's very different. She's taken care of you and asked for nothing in return. Arriving to her bedroom door, you hear heavy breathing. You open it without knocking and see the lady sitting on the windowsill, holding her legs tightly, burying her face into them. Oh, hero, I didn't think you would come to find me. I thought that maybe I'd have to be the one coming to you from now on. How lucky I am you are so kind. Her eyes look dark. She hasn't been resting. Allow me to make you some tea, hero. That name, hero, it isn't who you are. Well, it isn't who you are anymore. She called you Dove before, and you liked that one. Yes, I suppose it is a bit strange for you, my calling you hero. I'm sorry, my dove. You admit that while you believe her, you can't seem to remember much of what happened before. Things would be far too easy if you could. Here, take a drink. Are you curious about the past? About who you were? Who you used to be isn't important anymore. But yes, but who I was is. I understand. You read some rather disturbing things, I'm sure. Where do I begin? From the very beginning? Well, sadly, our lives are so tightly wound together, I will be bound to talk about you at some point. I don't know anything about my origins other than a shallow grave and some dirt. I felt a gnawing hunger and an unfathomable pain. I suppose I can now understand why humans feared me so much when they saw me in that state. I looked like a wild beast, hungering for anything that would satisfy my pain. I killed tens of people in the wake of my hunger, but once that bloodlust abated, curiosity took my mind. I knew they were all weak. At best, the humans were a nuisance to me. But when I heard the name of the Duke being begged to save their lives, well, I wanted to know what the true extent of the power of humanity was. He died quickly to my fangs, and I was disappointed. I foolishly believed a position of power meant high physical capabilities, but my mind was being molded from a blank slate, so I could hardly be blamed. I decided to don the title of Duchess and carried out the duties as their ruler. I had no need to kill humans to satisfy my cravings, so I'd merely make them bend to my power and happily give it to me. I truly did not even fully understand it was a power compelling them to act so eagerly. Nonetheless, I did revel in it, the feeling of control. For generations, I was left to rule. The kingdom itself seemed to have used the lands as a sacrificial offering to me. But everything changed when you came of age. Some holy power sparked within you, and that ignited the hopes of the abandoned state. I'll admit, even I felt myself grow excited to see what you would become. I watched you closely as you gained power and triumphed over the trials. But it was when you claimed the Holy Avenger that you faltered. A crazed dragon laid between you and the sacred relic. I don't think your past self ever figured it out, but I'll share a secret with you. You were unfortunately not strong enough to best it, and your death was impending. Even that guard at your side, whom I now call Pickles, was on death's door. That's when I decided to use my power to help you. I weakened the dragon and confused it long enough so that you could lay claim to the weapon and slay the beast. I wasn't sure at first why I had helped you, but thinking back to it, I think I was excited by the prospect of my immortality ending. Did she just admit that she helped you so that you could end her life? Why would she do that? I suppose humans don't understand it. Well, I don't think immortals would understand it either, especially if they languish to get said immortality. The first 100 years were fine, lots of learning and adapting. But as the years were wearing on, and everything around me continued to change, I was the only constant. The rocks cracked and weathered, the lands flourished and then dried out, people cycled from beginning to end to beginning again. The one curiosity that kept me going was the pursuit of finding out where I came from. But even that was lost to time, and I had given up on such a hopeless thing. Once I learned about the people's desire to have you end my life, I thought it was a rather poetic tragedy. A hero slaying a monster. What better ending is there than that? You start to feel unbearably uncomfortable. You avert your gaze as you process everything. But that was not the ending of our story. We fought, and I made sure to put on a show for your army. But I allowed you to win. You were indeed strong, but too inexperienced. That's when I was beneath your sword. I looked you in the eyes to take in your visage as the last thing I knew of this world. But you didn't finish me off. You said I would surrender to the army and be escorted out of these lands. I was outraged and demanded you finish the job. I threatened that if I continued to live, I would bring unending misery to your people. You were naive to believe because I hadn't killed humans in hundreds of years that I was redeemable. I escaped and I sequestered myself in my castle. I had one of your knights and I planned to use him to force your hand to end my life. But that damned man ruined everything. He escaped and he used my magic tomes to kill you. So I forced him to live an eternity of suffering by my side. I forced him to take the pact of the familiar with me and told him he could never die or forget what he had done to you. But I grew soft. The immeasurable guilt of my own magic being the cause of your death made me falter. I gave up my title of Duchess and abandoned my castle. The hunger set in over and over, but I found myself unable to drink the blood of humans or animals. It was vile and putrid. Even if I craved it, even at the sight, its taste grew unbearable. My immortality grew fragile, and the sun began to sting my eyes. Silver felt hot to the touch, and churches was suffocating to sit in. Even though I had clearly weakened, I still could not die. Whatever spell that mangy raven cat casted seemed to have affected me as well. When that pain surmounted, I rediscovered your sword and attempted to use it. But it begged for only your hands and merely burned mine. But it proved something to me. That sword was still attuned to you, which meant your soul had not yet departed these lands. You still yet lived, but beyond my reach. Since the people had let the tale of the tyrant Raerdrim die, I bought a meager title of lady and constructed the Manor of Roses. The Rose Manor calls to the minds of those who have lost something they can never attain again. The hearts of those lost to sorrow, and the bodies of those who have nothing left. It fulfills that yearning and allows them to continue living. I had hoped it would one day call your soul to me, and it clearly did. Her eyes burn with excitement as she smiles. It sends a chill down your spine. My apologies. I didn't mean to scare you there. I just want things to be different than they were before. I was too mature to realize what I truly felt for you back then. But your disappearance has made my heart grow greedy for you. Before you entertain this conversation anymore, you need to know, is she using her magic to affect you in any way? I suppose it might be. Truthfully, this power is beyond total control. I can exert it, but recalling it is entirely different. So, everything you felt for the lady up to this point was a lie? An illusion? Your feelings. No, my magic isn't so ghastly to force that on someone. But it may have convinced you to share more information with me, or made you not want to leave as much. Are you saying there are feelings between us? Again, her excitement makes itself apparent. You tell her to slow down. Her feelings, your confusion and absence of memories, and what that means for you is making it hard to think straight. You have so many questions, but this is already too much. Yes, it must be a lot. If you'd like, we can resume this tomorrow. If you still wish to stay here. Even if your mind wanted you to leave, you're not sure she would let you. You tell her that you will stay, but you'd like to talk to Pickles, or whatever his real name is. That rat. Yes, I understand you'd like to hear from both sides. He's being confined by a magic circle in one of my studies on the second floor. I didn't want to see him after everything that has happened. and I let the anger get the better of me. If you believe he deserves to be free, I'll allow you to make that choice. For now, I believe I should rest. I've been a bit fatigued lately. Now that I know you're doing well, I should be able to rest better now. Farewell, Dove. And that concludes the first episode of Season 2. I am so elated that it's done. I put a lot of work into editing, even though I wasn't able to put closed captions on. But that's because exactly 7 hours from the upload of this video, 7 p.m. EST, I will be hosting my first ever game show for a charity event, and there will be another one on the 26th at 7 p.m. EST as well. I'm so excited. If you guys can come and participate, even if you cannot donate, so long as we hit goals, every viewer can participate in the raffles, whether you get a raffle of art from me or game codes. So it's an absolute fun time to join. Make sure you come and stop by and say hi to me. All right, thank you guys so much. I love you. Thank you to all the patrons that support me on Patreon, especially the hero, Unplugged Professor.